Over the last few months, I've seen a plethora of videos of people of different ages talking about how they feel like things just aren't the way that they were before. They say that they feel exhausted, drained, as though the world isn't alive, and as though they're not really sure how to fit in, how to move on, how to keep going. Truth be told, I have felt that at different times myself. We have been through some absolutely crazy things these last 5 years that have changed how we relate to one another, how we relate to nature, how we're able to talk about things in the public, and overall how we are able to be in this world. And it's not always been for the better, but I do believe that we are at a place right now where we are healing and moving forward. The label that I place on this is losing the spark. Today, I want to talk a little bit about why so many of us feel like we just aren't who we used to be, don't feel that joy, the excitement, the sacred connection, all of it that we used to. But I also want to say that I do believe that this is something we are able to heal. I do believe that this is something that we are each able to make peace with and move on from. And that conversations like this, as careful as they have to be, are part of how that's going to happen. So, what is the spark? The spark is the will to feel excited in this world. It is feeling well in the body. It is your spiritual essence. It is your creativity. It's your ability to feel good and connected in this world. And when we lose the spark, what happens? Feel sad, disconnected, tired, as though every single day is a struggle, as though things are confusing and disjointed and we're not really sure where we fit or what is going on. In a very electrical kind of grounded sense, the spark is also the charge that you hold in your physical body, which is a key point that I'm going to come back to later, even if it might sound weird now. One of the reasons why I think a lot of us have our spark dampened right now, very honestly, is just that we have been through a lot in these last 5 years. Saying this very carefully to make sure that I can get it everywhere. The truth of it is that, from 2020 till 2024, a lot of us were living in circumstances of uncertainty, stress, and indecision where we were not able to do things that we normally did, like socialize with each other, marks important moments like anniversaries, births, somebody crossing over, nor were we able to actively talk about the experiences that we were having online. This was a time where a lot of the things that we would have done to enjoy life, but also to cope with things that weren't going right, like communicate socially, spend time with loved ones, be in nature, go to spaces of worship, became things that we were not able to do. And at the same time, a lot of us, myself included, went through major life transitions that made things financially insecure, um, relationally insecure, and otherwise destabilized things that we had built up for many years. One of the big things that happened in the inside years and during all of that is, a lot of people lost their businesses. Those people who were able to maintain their jobs were oftentimes asked to do way more than they had before. People who were parents or caretakers in the home had to deal with different things like online education and what it's like to have to manage your own job whilst also taking care of someone else at the exact same time. And this placed a lot of like real burden on us. Really natural to feel exhausted. One of the things that you'll hear me talk about in other parts of my content is that I feel that we are at a threshold in society, a threshold moment where people are making big personal transformations. One of the transformations that I think is probably going to happen with people is that this sadness, this tiredness, this slowness brings them to a place where they realize, like, oh my gosh, I need to slow down. Last year, January 2026, I came to the point where I think a lot of people are at right now. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel right. I know there's something I can do about this, and I am going to do everything I can to get myself back, because feeling well and living in this world is the ultimate act of revolution. It is the ultimate act of healing. It is the ultimate act of saying that no, humans are never going to fall. And me as a human, I'm never going to give up. And so this is why I'm creating what I am right now. Over the last year, I took about 3 or 4 months to do a major literature review of what is currently being said in the research about the importance of Earth connection to humans. And it's being recognized as the pill. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not here to give medical advice, but I will relate some of the things that I've learned about Earth connection and how it makes us feel as people. Energetically speaking, we have a biological charge, we have a physical body. Spiritually speaking, this is the part that I do the research on, we also have a spiritual body that has a spiritual charge. Where do we charge and ground and restore our physical and spiritual bodies at the same time? Earth. And so when we are disconnected from the earth for a really long time, and or when we do not get to go outside as much as we would like to, a lot of us move into this thing that is called being electron deficient. So I know if I get too sciencey with it, it's going to push people away. Let's bring it back to the personal narrative fun part. As I was doing all this research, I was also still continuing on with my self-care activities and working to get into nature, because that's basically what was making me feel half decent anyway. So I visited this waterfall and I sat down at the waterfall, got into my sacred connection, and I was just like, okay, what can I do to fix myself? And very clear, very clean, it came to me. Stop thinking about all the advanced spiritual practices you're doing. Stop worrying about everything else, even before you try to fit yourself back into society, even before you put yourself out there anymore. What you need to do is continue slowing down, take a whole entire season of it, focus just on fixing yourself. That didn't necessarily mean not doing anything that I was obligated to do, like taking care of my family or earning like my income, but it did mean that I was going to spend most of my social activities going from nature spot to nature spot, charging up my physical body with these electrons. I was also working out and doing a spiritual practice that aligned me with the Tellura current that I do teach at my school, that I'm not trying to push on anyone, I'm just mentioning it. And with those two things together, I started feeling more myself. So, really, within about a few weeks to a month, I started feeling a lot better. And people started saying, wow, you look completely different. You seem completely different. I felt peace in my life. I started getting answers and clarity. My intuitive connection started coming online more and more. And it was every time that I went to a place, every time I spent an hour connected to the earth, every time I went on an adventure, how much better I would feel. Is it's really through all of that I realized just how absolutely essential earth connection is to us. And I think that a lot of people know that, because there's a lot of people who are feeling the call to go outside now. There's a lot of people who are getting interested in nature. Maybe even some of you people who have been finding my videos, you're starting to remember that humans and nature have this innate connection. And even though we kind of had to put that filter up in our mind for a few years, and even though it has kind of been sidelined in different kind of spiritual or wellness regimes, it turns out that earth is extremely important to us, and that sometimes starting to feel good can be just as simple as allowing ourselves to go outside and be with a tree, walk by the water, meditate with a rock, do whatever makes sense for us where we're at in our life with it. And totally unashamedly, that is 100% why so much of my content since I have come back online has been about going outside and finding these places. And though it doesn't always feel natural to do that anymore, slowly and gently and cautiously and however makes sense for us, it's really important that we do that, especially if we want to feel well. And so, if you want my humble advice, which maybe you do, if you have listened this long, it's really, if you need that kickstart, and always remember this earth connection is going to be one of the key things that's going to help lift you up. And if you're feeling especially particularly drained, you may be electron deficient as well. I'm not here to diagnose you, but hey, I can introduce the idea. in another sense, if you were feeling an extreme call to slow down, it could be because you are about to have a really good moment of healing and processing. It probably means that you've already done really well to get yourself out of immediate danger, and your nervous system is now telling you that you're safe. And if you have made it to this part of the video, let this be a sign. Hey, if you're feeling that call, maybe it is time to just be with yourself and to heal and to rest and recharge and restore. And there's nothing wrong with that. Having said all of that, this is a big topic. I think I'm going to put I think I'm going to just leave it here for now. I'm going to say thank you so much for being another human being on earth with me at this time. I know that we still have much transformation to go through, and being strong, grounded, and connected in what's real and what makes us feel well is one of the ways we're going to be able to do this without turning into curmudgeons, and where we feel like the spark is lit, like life is worth living, and like we are really just doing it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And hey, if you like these messages and you're new here, please subscribe, hit that like button. Come on back another time. Your friend Katie.